All right, welcome to this. I guess this is part two of this little impromptu mini series I'm doing around just asking you a question, maybe the same question that I talked about in this week's podcast around 7 questions for food freedom in the new year. It may be something different. But I just wanted to jump in and talk about it a little bit further. And so this question today is, well, yesterday's we talked about diet-free. What does diet-free eating look like to you? And if in the group, you can, I'm pinning them to the announcements for now, so you can go up there and check it. But also, or you can just scroll through. And talked about that, what diet-free eating looks like to you. So feel free to go watch that and answer. And then today we're going to talk about how did you feel when you first stepped on the scale. How do you feel? Wait, how do you feel? What is it? How do you feel when you step on the scale? I think that's it, present tense. And these questions are kind of derived from this new food freedom journal that I have put together. We're really helping women get to the core beliefs and mindsets and thoughts they have around diets, scale, food, their body, themselves, exercise, and their emotions. And those are really much tied to emotional eating. All these questions are tied to dieting, quite tied to your weight. So really helping you get to the core beliefs and thoughts and emotions you have, because those are what drive your actions. And I'm going to be doing a full-blown free training on this next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, how to ditch diets, find food freedom, and lose weight that lasts. And on this training, I'll be talking about, let me pull that up over here. On this free training, I will be talking about why gratitude and reflection are very important to your goals, especially in the new year. Why diets are the way of the past and a customized approach is necessary. Why food freedom and a healthy mindset and habits are important to your long-term sustainable health and well-being and reaching your goals. 7 key steps to align your mindset and habits to find your version of food freedom and lose weight that lasts. And then a special bonus, I'll be talking about my signature 6-month program, which I have some spots for opening for December to get started, but also opening for January. So all that's going to be way more in training. These are just kind of mini trainings helping you unpack some of the food freedom part, the mindset part. Okay. So today's question is really around how did you feel when you first stepped on the scale, or how do you feel even now? And this goes back to your history, not just we talked about history with diets, but your history with the scale. So when we're talking about losing weight, what are we trying? We're talking about losing that number on the scale. Sorry, husband's cooking out there if you can hear it. And that number and that scale means something to us all. It means something different to us all, right? Also, if you're on live watching the replay, let me know you're here. I would love to interact with you. I think I can see the comments. And so we really, this question hits at, what does the scale really mean to you? And listen, there's no judgment here, and there's no shame or guilt if the scale number matters to you. None at all. But what I want to get at here is that, how do I say this? We have a relationship with the scale that often, more likely than not, is not healthy. We measure ourselves by the scale. We often say our weight is our worth. And you may not be saying that verbally, but that's what you're saying, is that when you jump on the scale and your number isn't what you want it to be, you start feeling bad about yourself. You start saying you're ugly, start saying all these sort of nasty things, or thinking these things about yourself that are not helpful and most likely not true, and are not going to plunge you towards doing better in whatever goal you have for yourself. Okay, can I get an amen? So many of us stepped on that scale at one point. And that scale, and either our reaction or someone's reaction to that scale number, whether it be or maybe you should start doing this, or oh, well, you're at a healthy weight. Some sort of affirmation or response to that number has settled in our brain, and we have somehow from that moment started to measure ourselves by what that scale says. Measure our beauty, measure our acceptance, measure our well-being, and measure our worth. Now, listen, your weight is important to your overall health. It is, but not in the way most of us think. So first of all, the BMI, all that sort of stuff, everyone's body is different. That's just taking an average. So most people think I'm lighter than what I weigh, and I'm actually heavier. And people can say it's muscle, all that stuff, but also I just have a heavier bone structure. So when I was really, really, really too small and food was considered the enemy to me, oh my goodness, sorry, I realized that there's a plant here that I haven't watered because I forgot about it. Now it's dead. It's so tiny, I forgot about it. But I realized that if you were that weight, maybe that was okay for you, but it was not okay for me. So your body structure and who you are and the season of life that you're in plays very much to what your weight should be. And your body has a way of getting you to that weight that it's sustains and it's good at. Now, also season of life. So if you are 50, 60 years old, going through menopause, maybe had 4 kids, not doing sports, just doing walks, whatever. So your weight's gonna be, that scale number may be different, but you'll know, and we can work together on this. What is that healthy weight for you? But you need to stop trying to be that weight you were when you were 20 years old. It doesn't work that way for some of us. Some women it worked, but it doesn't work that way for most of us. And so we need to stop comparing ourselves to ourselves, is what I'm trying to say, even in regards to our weight, okay? So this question hits at really helping you unpack your history and relationship with your weight maybe for some of you the last few decades, or maybe your whole life, okay? And really asking and unpacking now, guys, this is hard work. My goodness, this is going to bring up hard things. It's going to bring up painful things, but it is what you need to do in order to really start to love on your body, no matter what that scale number says. That was one of the questions I talked about in this week's podcast, okay? And I'm actually going to link that podcast below here in the comments. Because again, it talked about some of the questions. There's more questions in this Food Freedom Journal. But really just helping you unpack that really what we want to get to is no matter what that scale number says, we love who we are. We love how we look, even though we may want to change it, that's fine. And we love and we value our body. My goodness, we need to get to that point. Because the more we're at war with ourselves, the more we're at war with the scale, the more we're at war with our body, we'll never love who we are. We'll never accept who we are. We'll never take care of ourselves really for what we need and what our body needs. Okay? So I would love to hear from you. How do you feel when you currently step on the scale? Because that question is going to help you unpack your history. So I stepped on the scale last week after not stepping on for 2 months, maybe 3 months. And I am postpartum now, and I've been doing a lot of the healthy habits that I teach my clients, the mindset, the habits work, and just trusting that when my body is ready to release that pregnancy weight, it will, right? I'm doing the things that I need to do. I'm exercising, drinking water, healthy eating, trying my best to sleep, all that sort of stuff. And by golly, it was 10 pounds lighter than it was 2 or 3 months before that. And I know that's because of the consistency that I have been applying in certain things. Now, mind you, working out 3 months ago versus now was different. It was lighter, less intensity, all that, but I've slowly built up. And that's the whole point of sustainable habits, right? It leads you towards sustainable weight loss. Now, I know I'm probably about 10 more pounds than to be where my pre-pregnancy weight was. But my body structure is different, right? Because now I need to build back up that muscle that I kind of lost because I wasn't doing such heavy weights or such intensity during the last few months of pregnancy, right? Or there's some movements I didn't do at all during pregnancy. So my body composition may be different at that 150, whatever it was. I think it was 150. I just told you my pre-pregnancy weight. There you go. that wasn't it. It's close there. Body composition would be different post-pregnancy at the same weight I was pre-pregnancy, okay? And it may get back to how it was, but it may not. And so I remember stepping on the scale. I'm like, oh man, I felt good about it. But let me tell you, a month before or 3 months prior when I stepped on that scale, I didn't feel good about it because not much had budged. And I'll tell you the 6 weeks 6 weeks postpartum, after I was eating a lot of nut butters, I realized I gained a couple pounds since my 2-week postpartum visit. That didn't feel good. And it didn't feel good when I kept stepping on the scale during pregnancy and it going up. But it felt good when I lost some weight because I'm like, oh, I didn't even try. What I'm trying to tell you is that I'm still working on my relationship with the scale. I haven't arrived. I've had to tell myself every time, especially during pregnancy, when I stepped on that scale, because I had to, that it's okay when that my body's gaining weight, but it's not because I'm who I used to be, because I equivalated weight gain with the emotional eating I used to struggle with. But I was not emotional eating during pregnancy. And so I had to do some work around that, right? But then I also had to do some work around when I did eat. I wasn't at emotional eating, but I just ate more of fats than I should have postpartum when I gained that couple pounds back, right? So all of this, what I'm trying to say, I know this is a roundabout way of saying this, is that when we step on that scale, it's like we have to ante ourselves up because we have to prepare for what it says. Now, we should not be that way. You should not feel anxious about stepping on that scale. You should not feel like your happiness is dictated by that scale or your worth. And so how do you feel when you currently step on the scale? If you are in a place of maintaining your weight and you're feeling you are maintaining your weight, do you feel good about that? What if you were to gain 5 pounds in the next 2 weeks? Are you going to be okay with that? This is a controversial topic for someone who talks about sustainable weight loss, right? But it's what we really need to talk about, because I want to help you be healthy. I want to help you break free of emotional eating. I want you to feel good in your skin. For some people that may be losing weight, some people that may be maintaining weight, some people that may be gaining weight. But I don't want you to define your whole worth and well-being in that scale number. If that is where you're at, where you are, throw the scale away. During the Whole30 Eating program, actually, you're not allowed to step on the scale. And I love that because it's about really redefining your relationship with food, really seeing how food impacts your unique body, and then doing that experiment without connecting it to the scale. I've done Whole30s many times. The first time I did it, I think I lost a little bit, but every single 8, 7, 9 times after that, I did not, because my body was where it should be. And if I was defining the success of that Whole30 by the scale, then I would be terribly wrong. All right? I want you to, no matter what the scale number says, love and value yourself. Now, if you're creeping up, if weight is creeping on and you don't like that, okay, of course we can adjust. But do not go down a dark hole that leads you to a place of not loving yourself, saying poor and bad and untrue things about yourself, because that is not helpful to you, anyone around you, or to your goals. All right? So how do you feel when you step on the scale? I would love to hear that from you. And again, remember, this group, it's a safe space. I'm not going to go tell anybody, because I really want you to be honest about that. Because if you are going on any diet or food freedom journey or any of this just for the mere part of defining your well-being and your worth and who you are in that scale number, then I'm going to be sorry. I'm sorry to say this. You're going to be terribly disappointed and unhappy. I have enjoyed taking care of my body in the way that I have. Has it been have I had to apply discipline? Yes. Half the time I don't want to work out. I don't. I'd rather nap. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I work out because I know I'm going to feel better after. And I know by consistently doing the things that aren't sexy, it has led to weight loss that I will be able to sustain by doing the same habits, right? Okay. So, sweet friends, hopefully I was clear here with you. I really want you to get honest and real and raw with yourself and ask yourself, how do you feel when you step on the scale and why? Why do you feel that way? What's going through your mind? What's going through your heart? Is it bringing up something in the past? Right? Let us know. How do you feel when you step on the scale and why? Okay? I get really heated and passionate about this stuff. All right, and if you're looking to unpack more kind of your relationship around the scale and your weight, definitely download the Food Freedom Journal. It has a little tutorial. You can download it, print it out, go through it, and there's some other bonus trainings. I'll be uploading these there too. But the journal reflection, that's why I'm talking about reflection, and then next training next Tuesday. Because it's just so important to really help us take stock of where we are so we can know why we believe what we believe and so we can change it so that it supports us. Okay, so download that Food Freedom Journal at madewell345.com/foodfreedomjournal. Then make sure you join us, mark it in your calendar. You're going to want to be here live because you're going to get the most out of this training if you watch it live. If you have to watch replay, that's fine. It's here in the group, okay? So yeah, download the journal. Let me know how you feel when you step on the scale, and stay tuned tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about relationship with food. And whether or not we see it as a food, friend, or foe, and why. Okay, grateful for you all. Can't wait to continue to support you through this food freedom journey and in next week's training.